Hello, fellow diggers. Well, my wife went out and checked the mail just a minute ago. And I want you to see here. I got me a little package. Look at there. That's my buddy Joshua Ralston up in Canada. He said he had some coins he was going to send me, but I really didn't think they were going to come quite this quick. But I sure am happy to get them. That's all right. And I know people are saying, "Oh, Penny Digger, you forgot to black out your address." No, I ain't worried about it. I live in an area where it ain't healthy to sneak up on anybody. You're liable to end up with a damn backseat of your britches loaded up with buckshot. Anyway, people always ask me for my address where they can send me coins, where they can get them up on one of these plaques on my walls. And I'm glad to put them there. So, by doing it this way, they get an opportunity to get my address, and I'm holding it still long enough where they can write it down. Anyway, Josh had told me about a couple of coins he was going to send me. And then I got a couple I wasn't expecting, too. Now, these two pennies right here, yeah, they're Canadian pennies. But that's a 1957 there on the left. And then we got a 1958, which is my birth year, there on the right. You can see the 1958 there just below the maple leaf, and the 1957 right there. I'll have to run these through electrolysis, or I might just get some of my Brasso back there and see if I can clean them up with it, see how that works. And then he also sent me this cool little taquito to steal a line from Gravedigger Max. See there, 1871 to 1971. This is the Canadian Centennial dollar. And that's just cool as hell. Got British Columbia there at the top, Canada and dollar down there at the bottom. And you know, they don't do the Canadian silver dollars anymore. They do the loonies. But that's the celebrating 100 years. And of course, got Elizabeth II there on the back side, or what we would call the front side. And then check this one out. There's a little dime, Elizabeth II. But check this out. Yeah, buddy, that's one of those fish scales that he's always talking about. It's a 1967 10-cent fish scale.
Time of day I always look forward to most. Kids sleep.
And that one,
Nothing to do but look at the night.
How long have you been with her?
I believe, is at least half silver. What is up with that date right there? Hold on just a second. Let me see what's going on with this.
When your mind's on raising kids, the time just passes. You think about yourself too much.
You get very little thanks later on for not putting yourself first.
Well,
You married?
that date right there says 1867 to 1967. Now I'm thoroughly confused.
Looking for no thanks from my kids. Don't appear to me that you
Because this one is 1871 to 1971. That's 100 years. That one's 1867 to 1967. That's 100 years.
maybe you're just
Which one of them is the centennial, or is either one of them the centennial?
Maybe not.
I don't know. Maybe that's just 100 years. No, surely they weren't making that particular style of coin for 100 years.
No, that is true.
80% silver. He had it wrote right down there at the bottom. I said, you know, surely it's at least half silver. It's 80%.
When was the last day?
Sweet.
Just
Well, I got some frames already made up. I'm going to clean these two up. And then I'm going to get them mounted in a little bitty frame all by themselves. The 57, 58, this fish scale, and this nice Canadian dollar here. So that is sweet. That is sweet. That's a nice coin right there. And I don't think there's any silver content to that either there, because that's past 1968. And if I'm remembering correctly, 1968 is where the Canadians had their cutoff, whereas we did ours in 64. I think they still had a little bit of silver content in most of their coins up till 1968. But that one's past that, so I think it's just clad. But that's still a sweet coin. But Josh, you gonna have to educate this dumbass American here, because I thought 1871 to 1971. Okay, that must be a centennial coin, but then they got the 1867 to 1967 on the fish scale. I'm befuddled. But if you would, please, sir, let me know which one's a centennial, or if either one of them centennial. But I'm going to get these 2 pennies cleaned up, and we'll get them put on a frame. And you know, I got all those frames back there on the bedroom wall, and that wall's kind of full. But I emptied this wall out a little bit, and I'm going to start putting some in here in the living room. I can move that picture of my grandson and that Obama dollar up a little bit, get them out of the way, and go ahead and mount a frame right next to that clock, and that'll be the first one. In fact, I don't even have to move them to mount the frame right there next to the clock. But we'll get a small frame that's just big enough for these 4 coins. And probably have some room for a few more coins if I get some more Canadian coins. Let me get these cleaned up, and after I get them cleaned up and get them mounted, I'll let y'all see how they all look. And we'll talk to you soon. Until then, guys, this is your one and only penny digger, and we're out.